Guys, welcome back to my channel and to another meal video. Today I wanted to share with you some 1 pound meal ideas. For the past couple of weeks, my family and I have been testing them out, and I wanted to share 5 recipes with you today that we actually really enjoyed. Like, everyone is feeling like the cost of food has risen hugely and it's affecting everyone. But actually, these recipes I'm going to share with you today, I think you'll just really like cost aside, they're really tasty. So they worked out about £1 or under per portion. So a lot of these meals cost about £4 for our family of 5, because I kind of still make recipes for 4 people, because obviously we've got kids, so they have like smaller portions. But yeah, I hope you really enjoy this video. If you do, give it a big like and subscribe if you're new. And I'll be sure to link all the recipes in the description down below if you want to remake them. They're all ones I've found online. And I'll also be sure to timestamp this video. So if you're watching a recipe you think, oh, I actually wouldn't want to eat that, you can just skip ahead to the next one if you want to. But yeah, with all that said, let's get into the 1 pound meals. Okay, so the first recipe that I wanted to share with you guys was a delicious sausage casserole. This was one of my favorites that we had. It was just a real winner with the kids. Everyone enjoyed it and it was simple to make. It takes about 30 minutes to cook in the oven, but it's definitely the kind of thing you could throw together during the day while they're at school if you wanted to, and then just stick it in the oven once they're home. So this is everything that you're going to need. There was sausages. I got the Richmond ones, so you obviously want to choose like some cheaper, cost-effective ones. My kids don't tend to love the ones with loads of herbs anyway. Then there's butternut beans, chicken stock, chopped tomatoes, an onion, parsley, salt and pepper, and then some potatoes as well to serve it with. So first off, you want to preheat the oven to 200. These are Matt's hands. He actually made this dinner tonight. And then you want to brown the sausages. While they're browning, he then mixed together a topping, which is pretty much just ripped up wholemeal bread and parsley as well. This gives it like a crispy topping and it was really nice. Then once the sausages are a bit browner, you want to add diced onions and then get them to soften, and I'm also adding in some garlic. The recipe called for 1 garlic clove, but we have this garlic puree in the fridge that we really like using, so we just did a squeeze of that, and then also adding in a teaspoon of mixed herbs. Then you kind of just want to heat that through until the onion's a little bit softer before adding in the rest of the ingredients. So now in go the butternut beans, the chopped parsley, a can of chopped tomatoes as well, and then also some chicken stock. So about 500 ml of chicken stock going in, and then season it with salt and pepper, and then pretty much just give it a little mix before transferring to a casserole dish in the oven. I'm going to cook this at 200 for about 25 to 30 minutes, and that is pretty much it. It is delicious. Oh, you don't want to forget the topping as well. I nearly forgot. Add the bread and parsley mixture to the top as well, because it gives it like a little bit of crisp. And that is pretty much the casserole all done. Then what we did was serve it with jacket potatoes. If you remember and you have time to cook your jacket potatoes in the oven for an hour, that's great. But if you don't have time, like I normally don't, what we do is just prick the potatoes with a fork, stick them in the microwave for 6 minutes, and then transfer them to the oven for like 15 or 20 minutes to kind of like crisp them up with the casserole. And they're really delicious that way. And that's pretty much it. Then just serve it up with the potatoes. I suppose you could make mash if you preferred mash, but we just thought, oh, we'll do jackets tonight. But that is it. A healthy, delicious, hearty meal. The next recipe that I wanted to share with you guys is Thai spiced fish cakes. These were delicious, but I did adapt the recipe slightly, so I'll share that with you guys. But I found it on the Asda website and they worked it out at 87p per portion. So this is everything that goes into it. It's pretty much potatoes, tuna, Thai red curry paste, spring onions, some breadcrumbs, and then some rocket to serve, and some fresh parsley as well. Oh, and some lime. So it called for 2 potatoes, but I did 3 because there's 5 of us. So you just like peel them, cut them, and put them on to boil for about 20 minutes, basically just making the mash for this dish. So that can be boiling, and then you can kind of mix up some of the other ingredients. So in they go, and then I'm just going to chop up about 3 spring spring onions, and then add in some tuna. This is like the no drain tuna, which I've actually never bought before. I'm also chopping up some parsley, which I actually had from the other recipe. And then you also add in half your Thai red curry paste. If I was going to make these again, I would just double or triple the batch and kind of add it all in. And you know, batch cooking can also really help to cut down on costs as well. So yeah, going in with the tuna. One thing I would adapt if I made this recipe again is add a second can of tuna and actually leave the Thai curry paste out. I just didn't feel like we could taste it enough, which I guess was good for the kids. Like, it wasn't spicy at all, but I just felt like it might be a bit of a waste of a cost and still just be like a nice tasty tuna fish cake without it, but actually be nicer to have more meat, if that makes any sense at all. But basically you just mix that all in a bowl, and then I'm going to add the zest of 1 lime and the juice of a lime as well. Mix all that up so there's loads of flavors in there. You can season it as well, and then once the potatoes are all done, just going to mash that with this little potato masher, just roughly. And then I'm actually going to let it cool for a second because I tend to put the fish cakes together with my hands and it was really hot. But yeah, just going to mix all of that together and then kind of make them into little patties, and then you actually fry it in a frying pan for like 3 to 4 minutes on each side, or until they look nice and golden brown. And that's pretty much it. But one thing it did call to serve them with was natural yogurt mixed with sweet chili sauce. This was so delicious. Obviously, this is an extra cost buying the chili sauce, but honestly, it really made it for me. Like, the kids weren't too interested, but I actually really liked this part of it. So yeah, that is the meal. Me and the kids had 2 each. Matt had 3, but we did also have some leftover. So for the next day at lunch, I actually had them with eggs and hollandaise sauce, and that was really delicious as well. So I definitely make a ton of them, so you've got some, and you can probably freeze them as well and have them on another day. Next up, I'm going to show you a cottage pie. Again, this was so delicious, a real like hearty winter meal. And the way I think they've saved on the cost with this one is you add about half the amount of beef mince that you normally would in a cottage pie. So it called for 250 grams instead of 500. And then you also add in baked beans, which I think kind of makes up for it, but you don't notice, and it was really delicious. So this is everything you need to make it. So we've got an onion, 2 carrots chopped up, baked beans, a tin of chopped tomatoes, about 2 pounds of potatoes, and then some stock as well. So first thing you want to do is put the potatoes on so that you can basically make mash. So again, peel them, chop them, and then in a pan you want to heat the onion, which has been chopped, 2 carrots for about 6 to 7 minutes until they've softened a bit, until the onions have gone like a bit translucent. And then you add the garlic, and then once that's softened, then you add in the mince for about 5 to 6 minutes, pretty much just until it's brown. And then you add the baked beans, the tomatoes, and the stock as well. The recipe called for 400 ml of stock, but I did find this pie was a little bit like sloppy. So if I personally made it again, I'd probably add a bit less. But then having said that, if you were giving this pie to a toddler that was weaning, like, I think it would be the perfect consistency. Anyway, then you add in the baked beans, a tin of chopped tomatoes, and then you can season with salt and pepper, and then you basically just want to let that simmer for about 30 minutes or so. You could probably wait to make your mashed potatoes because obviously that takes some time, and once it has simmered, you then kind of want to let it cool down in the pan, like in the casserole dish, because if it's a bit cooler, I actually ended up putting it in the fridge to speed things up, but if it's a bit cooler, then the mash kind of won't sink into it, because as I said, it is like a little bit liquidy. Anyway, once it has cooled, then we're just going to make the mash with some butter and some milk. We did this with the whipper thing. What's the word? Electric whisk. But I also probably would just roughly do it next time because it was so smooth, which we normally like, but it almost made it even more sloppy, if you know what I mean. Anyway, having said that, it was so tasty. So once the mash is on top, you pop that into the oven and then it comes out like this. And we pretty much just had this on its own. I suppose you could serve it with veg, but there's veg inside it and that would obviously put the cost up as well. So we had this and we even had a little bit left over for the next day as well. And it was really Moorish, really yummy. Next up, I wanted to show you some honey broccoli noodles. This was a very tasty stir fry that's also really quick to make, so that's always a bonus. And it's also a vegetarian option. It's meat free, and that is a great hack to drive the price down on most recipes because meat is normally quite a costly ingredient. So this is everything that you're going to need for this one. There's cashew nuts, broccoli, noodles, soy sauce, honey, garlic, lime, and you can add crushed chilies in if you want to as well. We left it out for the kids, but that is an option. So first off, you want to cook your noodles in salted boiling water for about 5 minutes or for as long as it says on the packet, because it might be slightly different depending on what you get. But basically cook the noodles, and while they're cooking, you can put your frying pan on medium heat, add a little bit of oil and start stir frying the broccoli for about 5 to 6 minutes or until they're nice and soft. Then add the garlic and the cashews and fry them for about a minute before adding in the chili flakes if you want to, the honey and the soy sauce as well. You kind of want to mix that, simmer it for about a minute or so, and that is pretty much done. Then you can just drain your noodles and mix everything together and then divide it up into bowls. And yeah, this was really tasty. My kids really like noodles. Like, I feel like it's a fun, easy thing to eat, and they really liked the soy sauce as well. Nice and salty. And the last recipe that I wanted to share with you guys is a hoisin baked chicken with zesty coleslaw and rice. This was again from the Asda website. It works out at 86p per portion. I made it for 4, and all you're going to need for this one is hoisin stir fry sauce, garlic, chicken thighs, which is another great hack. They are normally a bit cheaper than chicken breasts, but they're really juicy and tasty. And then we've got cabbage, red onion, carrots, and lime and rice. This one was really easy. You kind of just mix the hoisin sauce and garlic with the chicken. You kind of coat it and then put it into a baking tray, and that goes into the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes on 200. This I think you could definitely make in the slow cooker as well. Just do the same thing, stick it in the slow cooker for 4 hours on high. And while that is in the oven or slow cooker, then you can make your rice when it's like 10 minutes to go, and then also make your coleslaw, which was really simple. Just cut up about half a cabbage, 2 carrots, and a red onion, and then you mix that together, add some black pepper and some lime zest and juice as well. I liked the coleslaw. I'm not that keen on red onion because it just gives me terrible breath, but it was quite tasty. But I think if I made this again, I would definitely make the chicken and rice the same, but I'd probably just serve it with like broccoli or green beans or a veg that my kids like to eat a little bit more because they weren't too keen on like the cabbage. But this was really delicious and a really simple one to make as well, so I would definitely recommend it. But that is it for this video. Those are the 5 recipes that I wanted to share with you guys. I would love any of your recommendations in the comments below on other £1 meals or any way that we can save money on food. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.